Oops, not the one. It's this one. So, as you all know, even though we already passed the anniversary of April 13th, um, I've been getting a lot of messages from people wondering if there is ever a video of the tornado coverage from KCRG from the 2006 event. Well, I found one, luckily, and I'm gonna play it without having me on it because I might watch it over and over and over again. I do want you guys to also read the description in the description because I I do not I'm only using this for education and entertainment only uses. Okay, so um, I hope you guys enjoy it. So we are going. And by the way, I do want to apologize in advance. Okay, that you're gonna notice a lot of lag spikes. Okay, and I really, really do apologize for that. I can't do nothing about it. You're all gonna have to deal with it. But we're gonna plug through this, and hopefully you guys will like it.
I'm First Alert Storm Team meteorologist Corey Thompson, and welcome to Iowa Weather History. Each month, we'll look at a past weather event of significance for eastern Iowa, tapping into TV9's archive of coverage from the time. This month, we take an expanded look at the April 13th, 2006 severe weather outbreak that produced numerous tornadoes, including an F2 that cut across Iowa City. On an early spring day characterized by record warmth, it didn't take much to spark explosive thunderstorm development in central Iowa. As the storms moved east, they encountered an environment more favorable for tornadic development. We joined TV9's live First Alert Storm Team coverage as a dangerous storm was moving through the viewing area, including in Johnson County.
Okay, back to southern Johnson County. That's kind of an area of concern. While Joe was showing the graphics there, I got in and brought up some velocity data. And the red you see here is wind, very strong wind moving away from a radar over in the Quad Cities. The green is air heading to it. So where it's meeting up, that's where there's some rotation and potentially a tornado. So south of Iowa City, heading to the east near West Branch, West Liberty, the southern edges of Iowa City, the threat of a tornado still does exist with this cell. And we're going to fly up to around Anamosa. I was looking there, and there's still some very strong rotation in Jones County around the Anamosa area. Let me get my bearings here on that, and we'll put the velocity up there so you can kind of see for yourself what we're looking at. So we're going to put that velocity back up there again, and we see some really tight shear here on the radar. Just a few areas of green. So a little east of Anamosa, south of Scotch Grove, west of Wyoming, there's still potential for a tornado there. So again, around the Iowa City area, around the Anamosa, Scotch Grove, Wyoming area, you need to be in your safe place right now. Now I want to back out a little bit farther, and another area of concern is we've had reports of baseball-sized hail. Is that right, Joe? Around
That's
Newhall?
correct. Yes.
Okay, and it's for the cell right here in southern Benton County. You can see this purple here. That's the normal thing you see on radar, some of those normal colors that you're used to. It indicates where some large hail could be, and we've had reports from the cell of that large hail, and it's moving off to the east at about 30 to 40. Let me lapse that for you here. So again, several areas of concern right now in eastern Iowa. So Cedar Rapids, you know, we've had some hail already. There's the potential for some more. And let me just back out and around Blackhawk County, southern Blackhawk County, a severe thunderstorm there. It's kind of moving east, a little southeast, west of Interstate 380, and also around the Dubuque area. There's some strong storms that have heavy rain, lightning, and the potential for some hail. So lots going on right now, Denny.
Josh, a lot of our reports of large hail going on from Newhall down through Swisher. So that is an area from the southeastern portions of Benton County through northern Johnson County. That's where some of the heavier reports of hail have been coming. And as you can see, that amount of storm activity goes all the way up into Jones County and now getting pretty well toward the Dubuque area, now into southern Grant County. And you would normally expect at this time of night, as we start to cool down a bit, that the storms would diminish. And certainly I think in terms of geographical coverage, it may have gone down, been shrinking up a bit. But these storms still have a great potency, so we want you to know about that. And hail, one of the major threats tonight, along with very gusty winds. And we're talking 60 to 70 miles an hour. Needless to say, we're also concerned about those tornado reports.
Okay,
thank you very much, Iowa City. Want to see weather clear.
Okay, we're going to hold off on that. We're getting information from the Weather Service of a possible tornado on the ground in Iowa City near a Walmart. Okay, that's what just came across the line here between the emergency managers and the National Weather Service. Let's hopefully get some more information here for you, but that's an area we've been talking about for the last hour in Johnson County of a possible
Josh, I
tornado.
can do that if you want to focus on the radar there.
Okay, so again, possible reports of a tornado on the ground in the Iowa City area. Let's listen to some more here.
Go ahead, Benton County.
Well, now that's Benton County we're hearing from.
Iowa right now, 1 inch hail.
1
Okay.
inch hail in Atkins, Iowa.
More reports of very large hail right now coming out of Benton County. That's heading into Lynn County. But around Iowa City, again, reports of tornadoes on the ground. We're trying to get some confirmation on that. But if you're in this part of Johnson County around Iowa City, the West Branch, the West Liberty, you need to be in your safe place. Okay, officially from the Weather Service, this is coming in on a statement. Iowa City, Johnson County Emergency Manager reports a tornado on the ground near Walmart on the southwest part of Iowa City. So officially, a storm report of a tornado on the ground near a Walmart on the southwest side of Iowa City coming in from emergency managers. That was at 8:33, about 2 minutes ago. So we are on the air for a reason. We have reports of tornadoes on the ground. These are dangerous things. You need to be in your safe place if you are near one of these.
Okay, we've got our weather spotter Max Dirks on the line. Max covers Scotch Grove and Monticello in Jones County for us. And Max, you've been right in some of the heat of the action tonight. What have you been seeing?
Denny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
It was real windy here, and it's a little light hail, and now it's real quiet. I don't like the sound of that when it's so quiet. Wind from the south, it's very quiet right now.
Okay, but as far as major damage reports, you've not been hearing anything yet from Jones County, am I right, Max?
I think that's out of height and high, out there up there a little ways off the line.
Okay, well, we'll stay in touch with Max Dirks. And Max, thanks for that report. Obviously, Jones County, like everybody else, some areas being spared the brunt of the storm.
Sorry.
And a few miles down the road, it could be a whole different kind of weather story. So that's what we've got going on tonight. Let us
Okay,
return
another
to
report.
Doppler and Josh Baines.
Yeah, sorry, Denny. Another report from Johnson County, 5 miles southeast of Hills. Train spotters report a tornado at about 8:31 near Highway 218 and the Johnson-Washington County line heading toward Hills. So that's been in about the last 5 minutes. So multiple reports of tornadoes coming out of Johnson County right now in the last 5 minutes. So if you're in the Iowa City area, the Hills area, you need to be in that safe place now.
And that safe place, of course, as you know, is the lowest level you can get to in any structure that you happen to be in. And definitely stay away from windows and doors. If you can't get to a basement, if you do get to a basement, get under something sturdy, cover yourself with blankets or pillows, and wait till that storm does pass. If you can't get to a basement, get to a hallway, an interior room. Put as many walls between yourself and the storm as possible, and again, wait for that storm to pass. Again, this is the time, especially if you are in southern areas of Johnson County near Highway 218, the Johnson-Washington County line in the town of Hills. It is now time to get to your safe place. Other reports still coming in. 1 mile southwest of Atkins, we have reports of hail, golf ball size. That's about 1 3/4 inch in diameter. We also have 10 miles southeast of Elkader, golf ball sized hail reported. So numerous reports of very, very large hail. And again, that tornado on the ground near 218 and the Johnson-Washington County line heading toward the city of Hills.
And lots of rain in downtown Cedar Rapids, 2.63 inches so far. But now our attention must go down to Iowa City, where, Josh, you've been doing a terrific job of giving us the updates and showing us the Doppler. It looks as though Iowa City is on the western edge, at least, of that line of intense activity. But it looks to me as though West Branch right in line for their share of it, too.
That's right, and of course Coralville, just on the west side of Iowa City, and we actually have somebody there to talk with us about what's been going on in the Coralville area. Mike Wagner, managing editor here at KCRG TV9 on the phone. Mike, are you there?
Here I am, guys. It's kind of hard to hear right now with some of the static we've got on the line, but I'm right now up in Coralville, kind of between North Liberty and Interstate 80. The sky right now is kind of a big lightning storm. The winds have died down a lot. The hail, I sent you a picture earlier of some of the hail we had. That's kind of stopped. Earlier when the hail was coming down, you could hear it rocketing off the sides of the house. When you look on the ground right now, it looks like most of it's gone. But right now here in this area around the North Liberty Coralville area, there's a little light winds, lots of lightning in the sky, but the winds have died down quite a lot since earlier.
How about the rain, Mike? Have you had a lot of rain down there? Well, we may have lost Mike there, but we'll get back to him, I'm sure.
Another report, Denny, to the north. Our viewers in Clayton County, 3 miles south of Garnavillo, we have reports of thunderstorm gusts of 70 miles per hour, estimated 70 miles per hour. Also near Platteville in Grant County, egg-size hail, which is about 2-inch diameter hail, right along Highway 81 in Grant County. That's a law enforcement report.
We're zoomed in right now in Johnson County, where we're getting multiple reports of tornadoes south of Iowa City around Hills, moving to the east, and we're kind of looking at some velocity data here. The red on the screen is where the red and the green are beating up is where we're indicating some very strong wind shear, we call it, and that's where rotation could exist and where a tornado could exist. And we've had reports from Hills and also in parts of Iowa City of tornadoes. So Johnson County, a tornado warning continues for you. Also northern Muscatine and southern Cedar County, you're under the threat for this area that we're looking at right now on the radar. And currently we're looking at the Iowa City Coralville Hawkeye. And I assume we're looking off to the south, maybe a little southeast. And you can see the lightning strikes there. Of course, at nighttime, it is very hard for storm spotters to see, obviously, funnel clouds, wall clouds, and tornadoes. That's what they're looking for. So we have to rely heavily on Doppler radar. But in the last 5 to 10 minutes, there have been reports of some tornadoes. So especially when you see them at night, that's something you need to take quite seriously.
So those of you right now just to the west of Iowa City, West Liberty, those of you in Tipton, those of you in Wilton as well, in northern areas of Muscatine County, you want to be in the safe area right now as we do again continue to watch this cell that produced a tornado moving across the Johnson County line heading into Cedar County. We've just had a possible funnel cloud report just north of North Liberty near Solon as well. That just came in. Also, called back all off-duty Iowa City firefighters and police.
Okay, I understand we have TV9 reporter on the phone. Mark Geary, are you there?
Yeah, do you hear me, Josh?
Yes, where are you and what do you see?
We are right near the Federal Motel on Highway 30.
Okay.
And we're seeing, I'd say, gumball-sized hail, and every once in a while, a ping-pong-sized hail will fall down just randomly. It's slamming into our live truck as we're driving here. There's people pulled over to the side of the road. Just a ton of hail coming through here.
So that's along Highway 30 near Cedrell, is that what you said?
Yes, near the Federal Motel.
And golf ball size hail, say again?
No, I would say it's mostly gumball size, and then you're also seeing ping pong ball size here and there.
Okay, gumball size hail.
Yeah.
Gumball size
Yeah.
hail, that's what it was, around Highway 30 in Cedrell. It's with this cell that's moving east at about 30 to 40. So the threat right now for Benton and Lynn County really seems to be more the hail. The tornado threat has shifted off into Johnson County, heading off to the east. So around Highway 30 and points due east, maybe a little south and north, the threat for some larger hail, gumball size to ping pong ball size hail threat, as we just heard from TV9 reporter Mark Geary.
I don't want to play Can You Top This, but the National Weather Service did receive a report from near Walford of softball-sized hail.
And that's probably the largest hail.
Ping pong ball, really size hail threat, as we just heard from TV9 reporter Mark Geary.
I don't want to play Can You Top This, but the National Weather Service did receive a report from near Walford of softball-sized hail.
And that's probably the largest hail that we have seen with this event so far as size of hail.
Right.
Very interesting. I was talking to a class today, 6th grader over at Regis Middle School, and they asked what the largest hail I've ever heard reported in eastern Iowa. And I remember softball size hail several years ago in the Dubuque County area, and now we have it today again.
Okay, I'm told there's a lot of damage on Riverside Drive in Iowa City. For example, a semi overturned. They made a call to police, and Menards has 2 people with injuries because at least a portion of the roof collapsed. That's a report at Menards, and that's in the Iowa City area. A roof collapsed and at least 2 people with injuries. So this is getting more serious as we continue to report this to you. And again, this is with that cluster of potential tornadoes that has ripped through the Iowa City Coralville area. And the very minimum is it's been doing a lot of damage, and they could have been full-fledged tornadoes.
Absolutely. We'll certainly be watching that damage and seeing the damage reports as it continues to come in. Johnson.
Fellas, give me your opinions here, but it seems as though the damage seems to be focused now on Benton, Lynn, down through Johnson and into Jones County. Those seem to be the areas right now, with Cedar County probably yet to come. So it'll be very interesting in the coming hours, and I want to assure our viewers that we have reporters fanned out throughout the viewing area, giving us the very latest and best reports they can on what is going on. But it seems as though that area I was just talking about is the area that we're going to be getting the biggest amount of damage reports. I, for example, just been handed golf ball-sized hail south of Walford.
And Denny, I just got a report as well of a possible tornado from a radio report near Tiffin. Possible tornado near Tiffin right now. Of course, that's right along Interstate 80 in the western portion of Johnson County. Possibly that cell we're seeing right now just north of, south of Swisher, just off to the northwest of North Liberty in the Tiffin area. That report came through at about 8:36, so about 10 minutes ago.
And we want to remind people, apparently there has been damage to Menards in Iowa City, and we have been told there are at least 2 people with injuries there. A roof collapsed.
I want to let you know that the Weather Service has now reissued a new tornado warning for Johnson County, and that will go until 9:45. So again, until 9:45 for Johnson County, that tornado warning has been reissued. And again, of particular interest, as Josh was talking about and showing us on live radar, in the North Liberty, Solon, West Branch area right now, that's the area where we're seeing some possible rotation as that storm is moving through. So northern areas of Johnson County right now, under the gun from another cell that's moving in. That tornado warning for Johnson County in effect until 9:45. Okay, a train spotter in Iowa City reports a tornado headed northeast about 5 to 10 minutes ago, so that would have been about 8:40 in Iowa City. Reported debris falling from the sky and quarter-size hail at the same time. And again, those of you in Johnson County, you are under a tornado warning until 9:45. You should be in your safe place.
That's right. Calls coming into the TV9 newsroom of possible funnel clouds near North Liberty. And we can actually take that semi-seriously. It's not a trained report, but what we've been looking at on the radar indicates that there could be possible funnel clouds. Those are technically not tornadoes, but they could touch the ground and become tornadoes around the North Liberty area. We've been talking about that area in the last 10 minutes. So if you're in North Liberty, along Highway 1 up to Solon, any point to the east in Johnson County, a possible tornado does exist. And also down around West Liberty, a report coming from the National Weather Service. It was at 8:45, 15 minutes ago, a semi was blown over on Highway 70. That runs north and south, just south of West Liberty. More information coming.
Just issued a tornado warning that includes the extreme southern part of Scott County. That's in effect.
Okay, that's for the Quad City area. Okay, we have reporter Steve Nichols on the line, and Steve, you're our man in Iowa City. Tell us what you've been seeing going on there tonight.
Well, Iowa City is actually kind of a mess. Just down at the Old Capitol Town Center, the corner of Burlington and Clinton, there's a huge shed just in the middle of the intersection. Lots of planks of wood just kind of scattered around the street. Also, the parking ramp for the mall, there are some trees that are been blown over, blocking one entrance, and there's a lot of just kind of a lot of debris and people kind of milling around in the mall right now, just kind of hanging out. And I'm looking at a picture right now captured by one of the Gazette photographers, Brian Ray, that shows what looks like a funnel cloud right over the corner of the intersection of Clinton and Washington, right over the Pancheros restaurant is what it looks like. It's pretty amazing. Brian, when was that taken? This was from about 15, 20 minutes ago, this still photo of what looks like a funnel cloud just touching down over Pancheros.
Steve, do you know anything about Menards? We had a report that a roof collapsed at Menards and there were a couple of injuries. Do you know anything about that?
I have heard the same thing, but I haven't had a chance to get anything confirmed on that yet. I've also heard about a Dairy Queen out on Riverside in Benton that was hit pretty hard, and there may be people trapped there, but again, I haven't been able to get that confirmed one way or another.
Well, we have been getting reports here, Steve, about a lot of damage on Riverside Drive in Iowa City. It looks to me as though you might have a long night in front of you, because it seems as though, have you been hearing reports of widespread damage throughout the whole metro area in Iowa City? Well, I think we may have lost Steve.
In the mall,
okay.
and can you guys hear me?
Yes,
we can
hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
I was coming in from Coralville to the old Capitol Town Center, and just debris everywhere, and the street lights aren't working. It's just kind of a mess all around Iowa City.
Well, Steve, keep us posted. I know you've got some work ahead of you, and we'll look forward to hearing from you later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Steve Nichols, and going to have a long night, I think, in Iowa City. And Iowa City, the metro area of Iowa City, certainly one of the hardest hit places in these storms that have been erupting, starting in central Iowa and now moving into eastern Iowa as the evening has progressed. So, okay, we just received word from Elmer Beckler, who is our weather spotter in Oxford, and he says he saw the Iowa City tornado touchdown at 8:30 this evening, and so that comes from a very reliable source, Elmer Beckler. And he's been our spotter for years in Oxford.
Another report from Iowa City, Denny, some wind damage. A train spotter reports large trees down and cars crushed along College Street. Cars crushed along College Street between Governor and Dodge Streets in Iowa City as that storm rolled through. Again, spotter reports large trees down and cars crushed along College Street between Governor and Dodge Streets in Iowa City as that storm moved through.
Another picture to show you, this coming from around County Home Road earlier this evening. This probably would have been about an hour and a half ago, and you see that lowering of the clouds there, a few funnels maybe, a wall cloud. That is, again, from near County Home Road earlier this evening. So, again, we're on the air for a reason. There have been reports, as you can hear, from Iowa City, also parts of Lynn County very well could be in this with damage, also the large hail, but this is evidence, as you can see in this picture from earlier this evening, the very low-hanging clouds that could have produced tornadoes.
Mark Geary is on the line right now, and I understand, Mark, that you are with someone who was actually trapped inside a house in Van Horn, right?
That's true, Denny. I'm here with Brian Gibney, and he was inside. I'm going to let you talk to him right now.
Okay, Brian, kind of a harrowing night for you. Could you tell us about what happened?
Well, it began raining here in Benton County, so I finished my farming operation for the night and was in my uncle's farm shop here just south of Van Horn when about 7:50 the wind picked up and I could see the overhead door starting to buckle and rain was coming through. And shortly after that, the roof was ripped right off of the farm shop and the walls came down, and one of the walls unfortunately came down on top of me.
Well, were you, I take it you were not injured though, right?
No, I wasn't. I did have to have emergency rescuers come and get a wall off of me. I was pinned and trapped, but once they got me out, luckily, I don't know how, I only got a few cuts and bruises.
Well, we're very thankful for that. Brian, can you tell me, is it your sense this was a tornado, or do you think it was just extremely strong winds? What do you think caused this?
I really don't think straight-on winds could have possibly done this to this size of building and the way it's twisted. I think it had to have been a tornado.
Well, you're talking about something the National Weather Service will be watching for, and that is that twisting. And you get a sense there was a lot of twisting in this storm, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The building shows it too.
Okay, Brian, just so we can pin this down, exactly what was your location?
1 mile south of Van Horn.
1 mile south of Van Horn. We're very grateful you made it through. Go ahead, Josh.
I just remembered, he said 7:50, is that right?
You
when
said
that happened.
750, right, Brian?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Well, we're very grateful you made it through with only some minor scrapes and bruises, and hopefully something like that never happens to you again. But we do thank you for talking to us tonight.
I am happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Bye.
Well, and Brian and Mark Geary on the scene there, and Mark's just one of many folks from TV9 who are doing their jobs very nicely tonight, I might say. Because I'm told Josh Hinkle is standing by, one of our ace reporters here at TV9, and he's in the Anamosa area. And Josh, what can you report to us from there?
Well, Denny, we're a few miles, I guess, west of Anamosa. It's where the intersection of Shaw Road and Highway 151 is. We're not sure what exactly came through, but upon arriving at the scene, the fences are completely gone, power lines are completely gone, some house roofs are completely gone. People are out in their yards looking for things, up on the roof, shining flashlights into stuff. Trees are completely just mauled over. It's kind of a mess here.
Well, I wonder if that's the same kind of area we were talking around Highway 151 along Lead Mine Road. Reported lots of damage. Apparently, Jones County very, very hard hit. Any injuries that you've been hearing about, Josh?
We haven't heard of any yet so far. I think the firefighters are just now trying to get everything. Police have got roadblocks put up, and they're bringing construction crews in here to start hauling things away so they can actually get to the mess. It's very recent that it happened, so I think they're just covering it as we are.
Well, I think probably you're going to be there for a long time to come, because I'm sure all kinds of stories are emerging, and it's really a shame something like this has to happen. But thanks for that report. And I'm just getting some more information here. Douglas Davis, a tech at the University of Iowa Hospitals, said they've called in their disaster team at University of Iowa Hospitals, and that would lead me to think that there may be a significant amount of injuries. I'm not saying there have been, but maybe this is being really very cautious down there. But more and more, it looks like we have been hit, and hit hard, in eastern Iowa tonight.
You're watching KCRG TV9. Now, from your 24-hour news source, this is KCRG TV9 News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bruce Owney.
And I'm Beth Malicki. We have crews all across the eastern Iowa area getting video of this damage from the tornadoes that we believe have touched down in a number of parts of the area.
But first of all, we do still have one tornado warning that's in effect in our viewing area, so we're going right back to Denny Frary and everybody in the weather lab right now. Denny?
Yeah, Bruce and Beth, thank you very much. Cedar County is the county we're watching very carefully. We'll give you a rundown on all the warnings in effect, and we have a list of them, believe me. But things are getting a little bit better as we speak, at least in terms of getting the storms out of here. But the damage reports are going to be quite incredible, I think. And that's why we urge you to stay tuned not only tonight, but tomorrow for TV9's reportage of that kind of action. It has been an awful night in Iowa City. Steve, tell us what you've been seeing.
Well, Danny, right now I'm at the Dairy Queen, what was anyway a Dairy Queen, kind of a landmark here in Iowa City on Riverside, near the intersection of Riverside and Myrtle. Pretty much just gone. There's a couple ice cream stands that are up, but the building is just demolished. There's some people kind of filing around here, just taking a look at really what is a landmark in Iowa City and is no longer. Traffic on Riverside is starting to move a little bit, especially if you're going toward the university. It's moving okay, but if you're moving away from the university toward Highway 6 and Highway 1, then it's really kind of a mess, very slow. We do have some video coming up. There's no power right now throughout much of Iowa City, and with the lightning, we can't put up our mast for our live truck, and so we're driving some video up right now. What you'll see is kind of a Menards in Iowa City where the roof is partially torn off, just a complete mess. You'll also see some of the video of the Dairy Queen that I was talking about. There's also at the old Capitol Town Center in downtown Iowa City, the corner of Burlington and Clinton is just unbelievable. It's just completely crazy. If you look there are street lights. There's a street light signal, the red, yellow, and green, that has been ripped off and is lying on the sidewalk. There are cars that windows. There are wood posts going through windows of other cars. It is crazy. There are huge trees that have just been completely uprooted. It really is just a mess throughout downtown Iowa City. So we'll get some of that video up to you so everybody watching can see what that is like. And the rest, we're just kind of taking it all in and seeing just people being very calm and relaxed, which is nice, but very slow moving at this point.
I guess what you'd have to do right now, Steve, is urge people not to go sightseeing at this time because there's so many crews out trying to do their job, right?
Oh, yeah, and there is actually a lot of that. A lot of people just kind of wandering around, checking things out, taking everything in, and it's dangerous out here. There are power lines down on the ground. Most of the power is out, but I don't want to say on air that it's safe to walk by those. And there's just all kinds of traffic, and it's best to just be staying inside and waiting for everything to clear up.
Well, Steve, while you're on the line, let me just pass this report along to you. Tom Moore from the University of Iowa Hospital says they have admitted 3 people to university hospitals tonight, presumably injuries with the storms, but they have not called in their disaster team. We did have a report earlier. Their disaster team have been called in. Do you get the sense that such a disaster team is really needed right now in Iowa City?
I don't know. I've spent a lot of time in downtown Iowa City, and there's just a lot of people running around, just almost kind of having a good time, it seems, just taking it all in because it really is a sight down here. So I'm not sure that I haven't seen anybody that's been hurt. I haven't seen people acting rowdy or violent or anything along those lines. So everybody just seems to be calm and just kind of almost in a daze. Unbelievable what we're seeing.
Do we have Claire Kellett back with us?
Yes,
Okay.
Denny, I'm here.
All right, Claire. Well, now you were on your way to church. Tell us about that.
Yes, well, actually, we're sitting right down in the middle of downtown Iowa City right now, and as you can tell, we're having a little cell phone service. I think the entire university is walking the streets right now. Cops are trying to direct the traffic, but then street signs, middle of the roads, there's debris everywhere. Like I was saying earlier, the roof of St. Patrick's Church is completely gone. Right now, I'm looking at the parking garage where the firefighters are trying to get people that are in the stairwells. But like I said, we don't have any reported injuries right now. Just crazy mayhem down here right now, Denny.
Okay, Claire, thank you very much. And it sounds like from what you have told us and what Steve Nichols has told us, it's very bad, but it could have been a lot worse because at least to our knowledge, nobody was seriously injured, although we did have that report of U of I hospitals admitting 3 people.
We've had just an unbelievable amount of severe weather across eastern Iowa tonight, and as you've been hearing, one of the hardest hit areas by far has been in the Iowa City Coralville area.
We've been hearing of cars overturned, of power lines down, of students walking the streets. There's not very clear cell phone service. People are having a hard time figuring out exactly what happened. We've heard reports of also a tornado possibly touching down right there on Mormon Trek near the Menards and Walmart area. There's also a car dealership. We do have reporters and photographers on the scene. Let's start now, though, with KCRG.
Well, first of all, we want to tell you, we do have video from Iowa City that is on its way. There are power outages down there, and that has affected us in some ways in getting that video up here to Cedar Rapids. So as soon as we can, we'll be showing you a lot of what's been going on in Iowa City. But as you just said, that's not the only place. Van Horn is another area where a storm hit tonight, and we have TV9's Mark Geary, who has been there.
Hi, Bruce and Beth. Yeah, we are on our way back from the Van Horn area, south of Van Horn in Benton County. That's where there was a farm shop there that collapsed, and someone was actually inside when that building collapsed. He is okay. He actually only got out with a few minor bumps and bruises. He called on his cell phone, dialed 911, and was able to get emergency assistance right away, and they cut him out of there and pulled him away, and he's all right. The building is a total loss. They have their combine, their tractor, their wagons all just covered. The building just collapsed on top of them. But the man inside, Brian Gibney, is lucky to be alive, and we will have video and pictures, and you'll actually get to hear from him hopefully later on in this newscast.
All right, thank you very much, Mark. Of course, a lot of rain fell on parts of eastern Iowa in a very short amount of time. I know more than 2 inches in downtown Cedar Rapids. Let's take a look at some flooding video. This is right outside our studio. of the rain coming down very hard around 8 and 9 o'clock tonight. The rain was coming down so hard it was causing some flash flooding problems on the slick roads. Thankfully, there weren't as many cars out. I was out at that time, and there weren't as many cars on the road. Some hail was falling, none of it really too big right outside our studios, but there were pea-size hail, and of course, as you can see it, an immense amount of rain.
But boy, we have received calls from all over eastern Iowa about hail that came down, everything from pea-size to cheese ball size to golf ball size, even a report of baseball size. One person has called and said they had one that was 3.5 inches across. You can just imagine what hail like that could do to homes and cars and windows. It's unbelievable. So a lot of storm damage all over eastern Iowa.
First images of storm damage from Iowa City are now in-house. Let's take a look at what reporter Steve Nichols and photographer Matt Nelson got us tonight.
Burlington and Clinton, it is a complete mess. Take a look at this street light. This is a signal traffic light that has just been ripped off and is down on the ground on the sidewalk now. There's debris everywhere. We'll take a couple steps out into the street here. Hopefully I can hit. You can see on the street light on the corner, there's just metal beams just hanging down from the light down to the ground. And if you look down on the ground, you can just see piles of wood and debris everywhere. It's just a complete mess. Right now, there are people here who are trying to clean up the street, try to clear things out so that traffic can get through a little bit easier. But this is just one corner of downtown Iowa City. It is like this all over downtown Iowa City.
And we are efforting to get even more video back from Iowa City. Hopefully that'll be coming in within just a few minutes, because there is damage all along that Highway 1 into Highway 6 area, into the downtown area. You can see behind Steve there, a lot of people, especially university students, we understand, who are out in the streets wondering what's happened. Probably, you know, the power is out in so many areas as well. So it's a little confusing, a little frustrating, and also people just curious about what's happened.
And we want to update you as far as the weather situation is concerned. The reason why we're now talking news and not weather is the weather situation has certainly calmed down. There are no warnings in any parts of our viewing area, so now we have many teams of reporters and photographers out getting video of damage reports. The phones were ringing off the hook. At one point, all the lines of all the phones were ringing at once. People calling in damage reports and letting us know what was going on, what they could see out of their windows. We now have reporter Mark Geary live in our newsroom with an update and some video he got when he was out getting damage reports. Mark?
That's right, Bruce and Beth. We actually were in south of Van Horn in Benton County, where a farmhouse collapsed on an individual while he was inside. And this is video, you can see it right now. Horrible damage. This is raw tape, so just kind of bear with us. We haven't been able to edit it because we literally just walked in the building. Now, the man inside here got trapped underneath this building when it collapsed, but he ended up okay, only a few cuts and bruises on himself. Totally fine. He called 911 using his cell phone, but all of the equipment inside this building, the combine, the tractor, the wagons inside this farm shop, is pretty much going to be a total loss, as it looks like from right here. It's just buried underneath this rubble. It's amazing how quickly this wind picked up. He said he just kind of heard a little bit of a noise outside, and then all of a sudden the building just started collapsing down on top of him, and he was trapped. But right now, I guess he's lucky to be alive, and he says that he's very happy that he'll be able to come back tomorrow and kind of start to look at what's next.
We are getting some video, we understand, from Iowa City. Again, some stretches on the southern edge of the city along Highway 6, Highway 1 area there, really hit by the storm activity tonight. We're going to Steve Nichols in Iowa City right now to give us an update on what's happened there. Steve?
Well, Bruce, at the Menards in Iowa City, part of the roof has flown off. It's just a complete mess down there. There were people that were stuck inside. Talking with photographer Matt Nelson, photojournalist Matt Nelson, who was out there and was able to get some video, telling me that it was just complete chaos. And Matt, if you can kind of relay to me what the people were telling you real quick. They said the people were saying they knew when it was windy inside the Menards that was a sign of trouble, and definitely that makes a lot of sense. It was just pretty devastating all the way around in that part of Iowa City. Bruce?
Steve, we understand that some people have talked to us who saw what you saw at Menards. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Okay.
And then the roof started banging, and then the wind was rushing through the store when they told us to get to the middle of the store. So we went there, and then the pieces of the roof were getting ripped off, and I don't know, it just kind of happened really fast.
Like everybody get to the middle, and so the lights went out and you couldn't see, and it was bad, and we just all went down to the ground and people were tripping over people, so it was really scary.
Sounds like very scary. We, at this point, don't have any information on injuries, possible injuries from all of this, but these people giving us a little bit of an account of what it was like when the storm hit inside that Menards store tonight. Steve, you're still with us in Iowa City?
Yes, I'm here.
There was a Dairy Queen in that same area also that I understand we have video of.
Yeah, the Dairy Queen, we just left that area, and it's gone. There really is no Dairy Queen now, although talking to the store owners, they say they do want to rebuild. The Dairy Queen has been at that location since 1961, Bruce. Really just a landmark, and through 40-something years not have any problems. And then with the storm tonight, completely wiped it out. And as I'm sure you're probably looking at the video and seeing all the destruction and everything around there. But the owners do say that everybody was okay. There was maybe 6 people inside. There were 2 people working in a family of 4. They do have a basement there. Everybody was able to get down into the basement, and talking with one girl who was there, saying she described it as we've heard so many times before with tornadoes and the strong winds, that it's like a freight train or just dozens of cars racing by, and she described it like that, and they just wanted their ice cream, and now they're from Riverside, and they're not sure where they're going to go get their ice cream now. It's but the plan is from the owners to rebuild at some point.
But as you said, everybody who was at that Dairy Queen when the storm hit, they're okay.
They are okay. We've talked to all of them just a little while ago, and everybody is fine. A little shaken up, obviously, with just everything that's going on, but yeah, they're all going to be okay and not having too many problems.
Thank you. Steve Nichols reporting from Iowa City tonight.
Residents of Iowa City emerged from shelter to discover the damage left behind from the southwest side into downtown and beyond. Damage to structures left debris strewn about and vehicles smashed. One of the recognizable buildings in the tornado's path, the Riverside Drive Dairy Queen. TV9's Steve Nichols reports.
With all the damage done last night, it's impossible to say which is worse, but many people will feel the loss of one Iowa City icon, the Dairy Queen on Riverside.
We decided at that time it was probably too late to leave, so we might as well enjoy some ice cream, and if worse comes to worse, we'll get in the basement. Well, they got a real nice basement.
The basement is all that's left of the 45-year-old building. Family owned and operated since 1961, the latest generation has to decide what to do next.
I'm going to try to get one back here if I can, and I mean, I'll see how it all goes.
First, the owners have to assess and clean up the damage, a daunting task considering what happened.
It just sounded like a freight train or a bunch of cars or elephants were just like running overhead, and it shook a lot.
The storm wiped out an Iowa City landmark, but didn't hurt anyone inside. That, along with some free ice cream, is enough to make anyone smile.
First light on the following day brought a clearer sense of the damage. Newscopter 9 followed the tornado's 4.5-mile path. Officials later rated it an F2, the strongest of the 11 tornadoes from that night in eastern Iowa, with an estimated top wind speed of 155 miles per hour. About 30 people were hurt in Iowa City. By the afternoon, cleanup efforts were well underway. Neighbors helping neighbors assess the destruction and provide comfort. Along the storm's path, the Alpha Chi Omega sorority house was particularly hard hit. Steve Nichols filed this report.
Power lines, but also power poles. No one gets off scot-free, but some homes fared better than others. Take this one with a tree resting precariously on the balcony.
I was actually pretty happy when I saw just this, considering the block ahead of us is the whole house is torn down.
Not the whole house, but the third floor is gone. So is a side wall. It's enough to force the women of Alpha Chi Omega to find new homes for now.
That's our lives are in there right now. It was like something out of a movie. It was so loud, and we were downstairs and there's glass all over. It's gone.
2 sorority members ran upstairs as the tornado approached. They didn't make it back to the basement.
They got stuck on the 2nd floor by the security doors, and then they were stuck through there, through the whole thing.
The 2 women are still shaken up. As emotional as losing your home can be, none of them were hurt. The same can't be said for the next-door neighbors. The tornado injured 2 men living there.
One of the guys had to walk himself to the emergency room to get stitches and stuff.
The tornado moved through a neighborhood on Iowa Avenue, causing significant damage to several homes. However, none of those homes were torn down. Repairs were made, roofs were replaced, and the only clue that this had ever happened might be the relative lack of tree cover in the area. Time, as they say, really does heal all wounds. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Iowa Weather History. Please check out our other content from the First Alert Storm Team, available in the different categories listed on your KCRG Smart TV app.
I'm attorney Jeff Tronvold, and I'd like to eliminate an area of my Okay, so as you guys saw, I'm gonna, at some point, I will show you guys some of the damage that Newscopter 9, the helicopter, captured that the morning after the event. Toyota of Iowa City was damaged. Walmart's roof was torn off. Obviously, Menard's roof was torn off. There was one fatality from these storms at that time. But everybody had warning. But it could have been a lot worse. So I'm going to end this, you guys. I'll see.